Yup, next, the chair calls for secure, resilient energy supplies across the region, faster cross-border links, and bigger investment in renewables to steady prices.
His Excellency President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., the chair of the 48th ASEAN Summit and related meetings. Mr. President.
Thank you, Dave. Our PCO or Communications Officer Secretary Dave Gomez, the other members of the Philippine Cabinet that are here, good afternoon. On behalf of the Filipino people, let me begin by thanking the members of the press for joining us here in Cebu for the 48th ASEAN Summit and related meetings. Your work of translating the outcomes of ASEAN into stories that matter to families across Southeast Asia is not merely appreciated, it is indispensable. The Philippines, as chair, considers you partners in telling the ASEAN story. That partnership carries special weight at this moment. The global landscape has rarely been more complex or more consequential. In the past 2 months alone, rising oil prices driven up by the Middle East conflict have pushed up the cost of basic goods and placed ASEAN nationals in harm's way around the world. It is precisely against this backdrop that the 48th ASEAN Summit convened, and that ASEAN's unity and centrality matters most, especially in such times. Yesterday, the Philippines hosted a special summit of the Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, East ASEAN Growth Area, or what we refer to as BIMP-IAGA. Leaders adopted the BIMP-IAGA Vision 2035, setting a 10-year agenda across connectivity, food, energy security, digital transformation, and sustainable development. We also discussed concrete fuel and food arrangements and initiatives to advance renewable energy across our sub-region. Today, ASEAN leaders convened here in Cebu for the summit proper. As chair, the Philippines advanced 3 urgent interrelated priorities. Number 1, regional energy security.
Coming now, the chair highlights plans to keep food moving, protect supply chains, support small farmers and food businesses, and build regional reserves for crises.
Security and resilience. Leaders agreed on the importance of stable and reliable energy supply chains, greater energy interconnectivity, and accelerated diversification towards renewable and alternative sources, aligned with our long-term climate commitments and designed to reduce dependence on volatile external markets. Now, 2 concrete steps stand out. First, we called for the expedited ratification of the ASEAN Framework Agreement on Petroleum Security, or APSA, which ensures mutual support amongst member states during supply shortages. Second, we pushed for the operationalization of the ASEAN Power Grid, connecting the electricity networks of all 11 member states to enable cross-border power trading, support renewable integration, and deliver more affordable electricity to nearly 700 million people. The next main subject that we tackled was food security. Rising energy prices, disrupted shipping routes, and soaring fertilizer costs are squeezing families across the region. Leaders agreed to keep essential goods moving, maintain open and predictable markets, and strengthen intra-ASEAN trade, and reinforce regional food security mechanisms. This means building more resilient supply chains, supporting agri-MSMEs and smallholder farmers, promoting climate-smart agriculture, and reinforcing ASEAN-led food reserve systems. We also called for the swift ratification of the upgraded ASEAN Trade in Goods Agreement, or ATIGA, which modernizes regional trade, eliminates non-tariff barriers, and builds on ATIGA's landmark achievement of making ASEAN virtually tariff-free, with around 99% of products already duty-free. Critically, its crisis provisions ensure that essential goods continue to flow during emergencies. And the third main topic.
Next, the chair stresses urgent steps to protect citizens abroad with faster coordination, shared information, and ready support for evacuation or return when needed.
Was the safety of ASEAN nationals abroad. For the Philippines, this remains a deeply important priority. Millions of Filipinos live and work overseas in shipping, in healthcare, construction, and other sectors vulnerable to global disruptions. ASEAN agreed to work more closely together through faster coordination, accelerated information sharing, stronger cooperation with host governments, and timely support for those ASEAN nationals who may need urgent assistance, evacuation, and/or repatriation. Across all of these three priorities, ASEAN agreed that our response must remain people-centered. We also recognize the role of innovation. AI and digital tools can sharpen energy forecasting, food system monitoring, and special protection delivery, provided they remain anchored in human judgment, accountability, and in global standards. At the plenary session earlier today, we welcomed the support of the Asian Development Bank, President Masato Kanda for ASEAN, including through programs in regional connectivity, capital markets, AI readiness, energy security, food security, the blue economy, social protection, and health. We look forward to enhancing our cooperation with ADB through its planned support for major ASEAN initiatives, such as the ASEAN Power Grid, ASEAN Capital Markets Initiative, AI readiness, blue economy, and resilient rivers. Similarly, we thank Economic Research Institute for ASEAN and East Asia President Tetsuya Watanabe for briefing our ASEAN foreign and economic ministers on ERIA's proposed study for a regional oil stockpile, which the Philippines strongly supports. The follow-through of this study into concrete policy recommendations will provide us another opportunity to strengthen the region's shared energy security. In view of the above, we issued